morning and welcome to the Sensory Overload Show. Welcome to the edge of your seat. Let's go. Rebecca Dean,
Yes.
my fine feathered friend. It's
Feathered
been another one
friend.
of those mornings,
Yes,
right?
Mr. Pepperly.
I didn't even know we were recording this morning, and it's you know what? I'm either becoming absent-minded. I'm getting old. I now have
I
strings on my
love you getting
glasses.
old.
Really?
Yeah, the older you are, the more experience you've been through, or
Oh
something
boy.
like that.
Here we go. Anyways, the first thing I want to do this morning is talk about how amazing. No, I want to talk about, give a shout out to a gentleman by the name of Rick Orlando. Kevin Orlando. Kevin Orlando, correct? Is that his name?
Oh, that's right. The parent, Miss
Yes.
Kevin Orlando. Christine is the mom, right?
Christine's the mom.
Yes. Hold on.
I would love to get.
Go ahead.
What?
No, I think he posted something on Instagram. Let me
Pull
just
it
take a
up.
look.
Let me tell you a little bit about the family while she does that. Started dealing with Christine Orlando some time ago. Wonderful mom. Has a daughter who just loves to climb. So before my guys were even done with the install last night, their little girl was scaling the walls, and I'm watching the video, and she was like Spider-Man in heaven. This kid's ability to plan her next step was insane. That's why I always say every one of these kids have something so special. This girl, just she didn't care if there was an elephant running through the room. She was on to her next thing. And then on top of the unit, she was going, the horizon wasn't enough. She had to elevate. And not just elevate, but do it fearlessly.
Mm.
So I caught a glimpse of her dad in the camera, Kevin. He just seems like a mammoth of a man, a gentle giant. And
He
then when he
actually
gave the
is.
shout out this morning, and then I looked at some of the other stuff he's had to say in the past. I'm like, oh my gosh, this guy is so much like me. And
Yeah.
I'm so much in sync with so many of these people who have so much to say that I hope that we get to have a parent like that on our show here shortly.
I'm sure we will. Check this out, okay? So he said on his post, Overcoming Autism Education Obstacles, let's install 25 sensory gyms for families that need them. And apparently, Mr. Kevin is a private lender, real estate finance,
I did not
investment
know all
banking.
this. I just heard the post.
Yeah, and he said, thank you, Fun Factory Sensory Gym. Sensory integration is a necessity for kids on the spectrum. The goal is to help 25 families have their own therapeutic gym. So I wonder how he's planning to do
Whoa.
that. But we would love to be part
Kevin.
of that. Thank you, Kevin and
And
Christine.
Christine.
We can't wait to hear more stories on how our sensory gym is helping your daughter.
Right.
She's so cute.
Oh yeah, I love the way our families keep us in touch. I would just love to post some of the videos of the kids screaming, coming
I
into the
know,
room.
but we can't.
Aliza just sent this one. I just you live for it. And the things they say about the guys who install them, just if you ever get a Fun Factory sensory gym installed, don't say anything about Fun Factory. I don't care. Say good things about the guys who did it because they love kids. And when you say something good about what they did for you, it just keeps them going.
Yeah.
They literally live on that more than they live on anything else, and they share it with other people who are doing installs, and it's like the ultimate reward, the badge of honor. When a parent says nobody has ever included my children, what was her name from Brooklyn? She just sent us that.
Not Sarita. We we've been doing so many home gyms. I can't even remember. So many families texting us. Was it Sarita?
But the way she put it,
Sylvia?
nobody ever included my children the way
Yeah.
that your guys did.
Yeah.
Our guys love kids, and you know the company model. Just the way you hired your therapist, they had to be mini yous. To work for Fun Factory, you need to either have a child with exceptional needs, be very closely associated with someone who has a child with exceptional needs. So when you walk into that home, you understand the situation. And then we're going to move on right after this. A clinic installs a gym, which takes up a room, which they're going to make money doing, which is what this is all about. We're helping children, but we need to get paid for our services as well.
Of course.
So their expenditure has a return on that investment. Here's the double loss a family takes and why I respect and appreciate what you do so much. You're not just making an investment in spending money, you're also losing an entire room that there's going to be no return on that investment accept the rewards we yield with our children's newfound skills, their ability to move forward. So, if people out there wonder if we know what they do when they install these gyms, that's why we try to cut every corner. Group installs, the free shipping, the free delivery, and it seems like we can never do enough.
You know, it's interesting you said about like parents take a loss. I do not see it as a loss. Here I disagree again.
There you go. Cut.
Because it's again, if there's a room that the children can go use and through their many years. I mean, right now, I think there was one of the parents that we did an install for. You did an install for, who was a client of mine when he was 5. They're still using that gym, and they just sold their house. And guess what? The families who bought it, they were able to get a higher price on their house because of that gym.
I just had a guy in California, same thing, call me, and he said, Troy, I need another sensory gym. And I remembered him because he was such a dynamic individual. And I'm like, why do you need another one? And he goes, because I'm moving into a new house. I said, well, we'll relocate your old one.
He said
no, 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 no. He goes, I paid $9 for it. They paid me $11.5. Let's leave that there and give me a new one. I'm like, really? So there.
Well, even the house that I sold in Greenbrook, it was the parents got it because of the gym.
I guess.
And then the realtor who was selling is like, would you like to partner with us so we could like maybe sell more homes with these gyms? I was like, let me get back to you on that.
Stop and think about that. Pretend that we don't have a sensory gym, and imagine if we'd have walked down in that dark and gloomy basement that was just it had a floor in. Imagine if we would have seen a full-scale gym. What if we said
sold.
The gym has to go, or would have been like, oh, bang, sold. Forget the big pole. It's got an indoor sensory gym.
Oh yeah.
I never thought of it that way, but
me either. But that makes sense with why Kevin, who is in real estate, probably wants to help other families get the gym. I mean, not just as an investment to help the children, but from a financial investment standpoint, it can also benefit the families. So that was my disagreement for this podcast, I guess.
Okay.
Unless we come up with something else that I'll disagree with you. So
no.
Moving on.
It hurts when you disagree with me. Moving on.
Don't be hurt. I love you.
This may be a little strange, but one of the questions that has come in more than once now. Can I elaborate on Def Leppard a little bit or no?
Of course, you have to. Let's
Okay,
go.
Yeah, let's
do it.
Oh, I see what you did there, and I'm on the edge of my seat because of it. Okay, here's why I chose Def Leppard and Let's Go. Because here is a band that is truly a band that has stuck together through so many things. Rick Allen losing his arm, the band literally put Hysteria on hold. I have only taken off 7 days of work, you know the story, in my entire life. All 7 of them were to go to Def Leppard concerts. Why? Because this is a band that doesn't just take the stage. They energize it. They terrorize it. They bring you a show that doesn't require another opening band. They are just the most electrifying energy. And I can count, and I can on my hand, how many times I've cried out loud. The day Steven Screaming Clark died, I cried. I left work. I drove hundreds of miles. I was scared to death that was going to end the band, but they dug deeper and just came back even stronger. So they're like a band of brothers, and I am the biggest fan. I mean, from the second Screaming Stephen Clark walked out of a limousine and he just did this to the crowd and he said, "Too much rock for one fist." I was like, oh my God, this band never quits. They're poised, their presence, Rick Savage on stage with the staggered steps. You know how many times I watched the videos?
You love those staggered steps.
Everything we do in this house, if there's a TV that's not on, Dad watches Def Leppard concerts.
Yeah, we actually have that every night, right? We have our little dancing session with all our kids. They all come into the room. We play music, and it's rock and roll.
Yeah.
I mean, not rock and roll. It's rock. It's rock, and I never got into rock until I met you. It was
Right.
all about EDM or alternative or Indian music,
We do that too. We've been to
but I
plenty
love
of
it.
electric. Yeah, yeah, we've done plenty of the Daisy things and the ball stadiums. We've gone
We
to plenty
thought
of
we were still
dancing,
young, so silly.
but but it just
Yeah,
this. Here's
imagine
what I
being
want
in
to
your
say.
like late 30s or 50s going to one of those EDM concerts, right?
Rock on. Hey, I only got one thing to say. Too much rock for one face with this guy. I only
It's
have.
been
I'm
a
gonna close
journey.
with this. Any band in the world, your drummer loses his arm. When Joe Elliott says we won't go out without our mate, it scared me because I knew Hysteria. We'd been waiting for this to come out, and they were so solid with it. And it literally, now that I look back at these things and what our parents go through on the day, they get beat this way, they get beat, but they never stop moving forward. This, this again, I picked Def Leppard because they literally changed the face of rock and roll for 10 years. You had to keep up to Def Leppard. To me, every song, the only band in the world that you never had a hit skip. Every song was that amazing. So, anyways, I hope Def Leppard isn't offended by me using them to start out our show.
I think they should give you back a shout out.
Oh, I'd sure like that.
Hashtag, no, I'm kidding.
I don't even know who the leader of that band is because they're so solid as a unit. You would think it's Joe Elliott. Colin's such they're all amazing individuals. And that's a crazy thing. They are also skilled at their own thing, but yet they come together. Rock
It's
solid.
like our guys, I feel like our current crew, and I have to give a shout out to our Fun Factory Sensory Gym installers. They have such heart. I know we've gone through a round of installers that that came our way. We are all about giving second chances, right? Our motto is always like the ones. Let's hire somebody, give them a second chance who needs it. We never turn them away. We always give them an opportunity to redeem themselves. And we've heard stories and stories after guys who've tried to apply to work for us, um, and they just want another chance and they want to give back. And they know when we are hiring them, we say when you walk in as though it's your sister, your son, your somebody that you're building it for. And safety, make sure every screw, everything is perfect, every edge is smooth. You never know what can trigger that sensory hysteria that it'll throw them off there for the day. So make sure everything is
Did you
perfect.
say hysteria?
I did
That was
that.
a great
I know.
okay,
I
great.
did that on purpose.
Okay.
I'm glad you
I
noticed.
did.
But we are hiring with that, and the crew that we have now are so dedicated, and it's so good to hear
Crews.
from. Yes, I said
You can't say
crews. I don't.
crew.
I
You mean
shouldn't
each
say crew.
individual
We have
crew.
like a huge crew and going all over United States. But what the testimonies that we're getting from families who get to spend time with our crews, right? Our installers, is so uh, overwhelming to hear that everything that we have focused what the company should be about is coming to play in such a good way now. I know we had some of our bad hires. I shouldn't say bad hires. We were trying to do good by them. They just did not do right by us. It happens in any business. And with clinic owners, I know a lot of our installers go in, they get the keys or they get the code, they go in, they do their thing. Like they call them Christmas elves, right? Like elves.
Yeah.
They work through the night, they're out the next day, they do the walkthrough. So the clinic owners do not always get to spend time with them as much as the parents and the kids get to do.
Right.
So I'm so glad to get all of these testimonies from there. But I can take this opportunity to thank our wonderful crews. Thank you very
Thank
much
you.
for all your dedication and work that you put into every little speck and inch and every piece of trim. I don't know. I don't know anything about wood, but that just didn't sound right either. But everything that goes into the sensory
Just throw
trim.
out the SOS whenever you need it. I'll jump in.
Help.
Okay, there you go. So, anyways, on with episode 4. Is episode 4?
Is it?
I believe
Okay,
it's
four.
episode
I think
4.
four
Okay.
or five.
I
It doesn't
think
matter.
I think it is. I want to, and I hope nobody is bored by this, but I want to take off where we left off in our last podcast when we were talking about you in the clinic and your experience with that. Because when that episode ended, I still had so many questions. And again, the mechanics of what goes through the mind of a therapist, what goes through the mind of a parent who's bringing their child in, those are the things that need to meet in the middle, and the common ground has to be calming and it has to be beneficial, because if it's not, there's collateral damage, and that can't be the child. We have to that always has to be something that ends up being the perfect situation. We've done our very best from the parent, and I'm going to get into some things like when you used to send parents home with homework. I was like, what is that? And how you explained it to me, that homework gives me the ability to move forward rather than parallel. How do you explain that to the therapists out there? How you used to give the homework, and you were tough love with it. Because I remember you telling a parent, if you can't help me move forward with your child, how can I do it for 40 minutes a week and show when you bring him in, and I feel like I'm repeating the same session, and you were in tears over it because your goal isn't the parent. You're not treating the parent, but you're looking at the parent who may not be happy with the results they're getting because of their in-home. And I'm not jumping on parents. I'm not jumping on therapists. I'm looking for an answer to question. How do you properly hand out homework that brings back a child who's going to be better regulated based on the last session to move forward and take the next step without offending the parent?
Oh, Troy, that's that's why having something unscripted is so not fair to me. I have to have this. There's a fine line in answering that without offending my fellow
If
therapists.
I wanted answers that were pre-scripted, I'd be doing this with the doctor. Not to offend any doctors, but I think the most honest answers come from the quickest questions. That's why I'm so unbelievably excited about one more of these, and then people kind of know what in the mechanics of us to go live, because there's thousands of people just off the few emails we've sent out that with everybody they've shared with have already gotten some great questions. I don't want to
Yeah.
read their questions off emails. I want to hear them on the phone. I want to agree to disagree with them. I know I'm going to have clinics that are upset with me about things I've said, and I'm probably going to have some parents upset with me about things I've said, but the only thing I've said is the truth in the way that I feel.
Yeah.
So let's bring it to a neutral ground and figure out where we can all meet and how we can do the most important thing, benefit the child. Doesn't matter if you agree or disagree with me. Let's focus on the child.
Agreed. And that's why, going back to your homework question, I'm glad I don't have to hold your face to, your mom always said that she used to, every time you would lose focus and go off tangent, is to
Board
just
of
grab your
directors,
face
yeah,
and say, Troy,
focus.
focus.
Before we'd walk into every board meeting, she would stop me in the hallway and she'd say, just focus.
Just focus. So to keep it focused and to answer your question without offending anyone, the way homework focused, for my therapist, the way I taught them on what to give to parents was very play based. I mean, it was for a few reasons. One, I wanted to make sure my parents were invested along with what I was investing, or my therapists were investing the time into their child's treatment. Not that they were not invested, because they are taking the time to come bring them to the therapy session. But that 30 minutes, 40 minutes, 45 minutes, an hour treatment session can only last that long. What is really going to make a difference in the child is someone working on that skill after they leave the therapy place at home.
Pause on that. Okay, I wanna bring this out really fast. Imagine a child that just went through a day of school in the situation I talked about being picked on, about being the knowing that there's something that's different with them. The overload there. We pick them up at 3:30. And then we throw them into New Jersey traffic or New York traffic or Chicago traffic or Miami traffic. And then we take them to the grueling ride to the clinic where that's overloaded. Now, your 30 minutes, how much of that is actual session? Hold on. And the homework that we're going to give that parent, do they realize how important that is? Because your sessions are already out of whack before that child even takes off his shoes. Do you see what I'm saying
Of
here?
course, I totally get
They
it. And
just
that's
came
why it was
from
so
a place that gave them
important.
homework, and now
Right,
you're going to
of
give the
course.
parent homework.
That's why my focus for the first 20 minutes with any child that I told my therapist is just have fun and build relationship through play. Teach them skills that you're working on therapeutically, not the traditional way. So it was all play. So the homework that we sent home with the parent was play based. Work on fun activities, not paper, pencil, visual stuff. You can still work on visual skills, fine motor skills, gross motor skills while playing. I mean, whether you have a sensory gym or not, I mean, I think having a sensory gym at home will make it easier to work on those skills. But, but through play-based skills,
And I'm
and
not
that,
saying that
and
because we do them. I'm saying that because your child doesn't even need you half the time when their little bodies feel it.
correct.
They
I
go and
was going to add that.
self-regulate. Go ahead.
Correct.
I'm
So
sorry.
once they have a place, a familiar place that they used to at home, and learning on the skills in the clinic, they can self-initiate those reinforcing skills at home,
Right.
with or without the parents' help. But it was more for the parents to go home and, like you said, going from one therapy place to another therapy place. They're coming from work, picking their child up, stuck in traffic. They don't get time to spend with their child. So the reason for sending them homework, play based, to interact, was for them to have that time to engage with their child therapeutically. They are spending time. The child is bonding with them. Siblings, we always try to incorporate siblings into their therapy sessions, so it becomes a family bonding session. And the ones that did take the advice and invested into a sensory gym, they were able to work and play with the siblings in the sensory gym while working on those skills as part of their homework. So it was for those parents who could not, I mean, and sometimes you just don't have time, could not take that 15-20 minutes to do that play based session. It takes longer for the child to progress, because they're only coming once a week. But it also tells me, if this is so important, and I tell them, like, just a few more years. I mean, it depends on how young that child is. 4, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Once that skill set is there, it's harder to make the change unless you work on that skill every day, like going to the gym. You go to the gym, pick up weights. The more weights you do, the stronger and bigger you get. It's the same thing. The more you work on it every day, add new things to work on, the child is going to progress to different level skills.
Did you say go to the weight room and lift weights?
I was trying to make a comparison that, that's what I used to tell my parents, is that you have to take the time to work on that skill for your child to develop as quickly as you're hoping they could from that 30-minute session once a week.
See,
It's not going to happen unless you can work on a skill every single day. People want to lose weight, they have to work on it every day through diet and exercise. If you want a child to develop and gain skills and continue with that skills instead of that 30 minutes alone, counting on that, you have to work on that skill every day.
that's where therapists putting things into the right perspective is so valuable because we have a weight room here in our home. And I quit using it because I would go down and sit on the bench and I would wait and wait and wait. Nothing was happening, so I quit using it. But now you told me I have to pick, sweetheart. What would I do without you? Okay, that was so bad. I'm sorry. Okay, go.
Focus, Troy Pepperly. Focus.
Okay,
Did I answer your question though?
you did, and here again, with you being so much, the reason that I feel so confident in anything I do or say is because I know that you are wealth and knowledge with the directions that we're going. I know that I'm the business end of it. There is
Yeah.
a definite distinction between your level of knowledge for things and my level of knowledge for things, but they come together in the middle. So we're like this
Yeah.
perfect balance. But the reason I'm asking these questions to kind of let you scratch the surface is because I'm already reading the questions that are coming in.
No, I know.
And that's kind of where they're popping out.
Correct.
So we'll have
I
other
understand.
therapists on giving their point of view. So I'm not setting you up. I'm getting your point of view before they get a chance to call in and give me theirs.
I wish I was given these questions before to read so I could prepare a little bit more instead of just being thrown on the spot. You know me and my English language. But anyway, you know what else I wanted to make sure I relay out is when I do get to talk to the therapist and they are still doing either an hour session one on one or 45-minute sessions, um, in a very traditional setting. I also, they're trying to say, how can we survive? How can we grow? And how can we be most effective with the children, right? And also billing. There's a cap on whether you treat a child 30 minutes, 15 minutes, 45 minutes, or
It
one
went out on my
hour.
email last night in a group thing. Even the new people like Eric got it. Questions like what you just said. Billing, insurance. There's a million things that, again, sharing the information
Yeah.
is so huge. It's not Sarah's telling Sally, and then Sarah has to tell 50 other people individually. This is going to be the one-stop shopping center.
Yeah, that's why that one stop shop for parents would be so beneficial is if a facility is able to do that. Because if you can reduce your therapy time frame to 30 minutes, and the reason why I'm saying 30 minutes is because, especially when children are younger, and they had a long day of already screen time or virtual or at school of sitting down, the last thing they want to do is just sit down and be in a session for like 45 minutes, an hour. I
You
mean, you
lose
will
them in a
lose
half hour.
you
You
will
lose
lose them
them.
in about 20-25 minutes. The first
You
five
lose me. You lose me, and I'm an adult. Well, kind
any
of, but I'm
any
yeah.
normal person will start losing focus maybe 15, 19 minutes into the session, or any session, anything that you're listening to. Again, don't quote me on that because I don't know what the actual factual numbers are. Hey,
Hmm.
that rhymed, actual factual. Anyway, but it takes about 5-7 minutes to get a child regulated, and then you start working on the skills. But if it's movement based, right,
Right.
movement based play type of working on skills, fine motor, speech, whatever it may be, you're still working on that. And the last 5 minutes to bring the parent in and show them what was done. Say, hey, good job. Get your reward, and then say, this is your homework. Let's see you next week. You can achieve all of that in an effective 30-minute session. That became easier. Again, I'm plugging in Fun Factory Sensory Gym. That became an easier thing to do in 30 minutes once I had the whole sensory system, because you created like a circuit system that helped me address everything from a gross motor perspective. I would put my little puzzle pieces down. I would have like my dry erase boards for writing, so we would go up the castle, write our name, and do everything like that. Slide down, throw those puzzle pieces down the slide, come down. You're working on so many skills, going to the swing, whatever it may be.
Right.
Um, a 30-minute session could be effective. So now, if a clinic has speech, OT, PT, behavior all in one facility, they can do their OT session, get organized and regulated, go into a speech session,
Right. And we have
right?
a lot of speech therapists say that they use a sensory gym 5 minutes. They get it 5 minutes before they start
Yes.
to get them regulated. And if they do good, then they can have 10 minutes at the end of their speeching.
Which
And
is,
kids, they say kids will work their butts off
yeah.
to get that 10 minutes of gym time.
Yep, and
Okay.
and the way I tell my my speech therapist, well, my speech therapist in my clinics, but also other speech therapists, is that if they're coming from an OT session already regulated, right, and they're going to your speech session, you are getting them organized. So work on those sit down, vocalizing, whatever skills you're working on, and as soon as you start losing them, take them to the gym and still incorporate language into what they're doing. Let's go up the steps. One, two, whatever it may be. I can do a whole treatment session
Right,
in
right.
this podcast, but you know what I get. And then they can go into maybe a group. So if it's all in one place, the parent has some time to breathe and relax and talk to other parents. It's not that they're driving. We had parents drive an hour sometimes to come to our facility
And you're
for that
going to
half hour.
parent, and I'm going like this, that poor kid. I'm an adult and I can't stand
But
being
you
in the
know
car for
what?
an hour.
When we were able to schedule our kids like that, think about it. They've been all day in school. Now they're coming to a fun, exciting, colorful place. They
Right.
don't want to leave. We had kids like, no, we don't want to go home. They don't want to leave. They want to go on this adventure on the zip line into the crash pad, or to the foam cube pit, or go up the castle and be like superheroes and save the world. Whatever adventure your therapist takes them through. They don't want to leave. Kids love to play. I like to play. I don't want to leave
Right, right.
and go home and what, do homework.
Yeah.
Nothing
No.
against homework, but you know what I mean.
I just
But from a parent perspective, Just with my daughter too. The reason why I wanted to bring every discipline together is, as a parent, it is exhausting going from one place to another appointment, trying to schedule. If there's a cancellation, then you have to come, whatever it may be. Having your child having a tantrum. Oh my God, sometimes I used to have my therapy sessions outside prior to the gym, just trying to get the child from the car into the gym. Not that my facility wasn't great. It's just so long. Anyway, hopefully I answered part of your question and added a little bit more value. I know there's so many questions like that as to the hows and whys, but
No, 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 and that the reason I asked that question, the way you split it up at that 30-minute sessions is good because there's therapists asking me those questions, but they're going to be bringing them out, and I think the whole industry seeing how you can do this in a way that's more creative. So when you do a half-hour session, does that mean they do more than one session a week?
yeah, you can have
Okay,
them come 2 or 3 times a week.
really.
Hmm.
See, smaller doses and more frequently, I think, is more impacting than all at
Hello,
once.
workout gym.
Oh, the way,
Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
that makes perfectly good sense.
And those are the parents that I would have them schedule 2 or 3 times a week, are the ones who are really overwhelmed, who do not have the time, or are, it's not like they do not have the time. It's hard for them to schedule a time to work on skills during the week with their children, right?
Hmm.
And that's why we opened up that reinforcement time or that open play time on the weekends too. So that's the time the parents come with the children in the gym
Hmm.
on the weekends to reinforce that skill and work with their skills with the siblings if needed. Um, but from a business standpoint too, now you have more sessions during the week. That means you have more billable times, right? And you have more therapists working for you, and hopefully it's the same therapist who's consistently seeing that child. And I'm not against a child being seen by more than one therapist. I think it's good for the child because that's how life is. You just never know. I know sometimes parents are stuck. Even with me, it was so hard to let go of me in that parent's mind. And I'm like, listen, my therapist, trust them.
Right.
They are going to be just as loving and caring and impactful for your child, just like me. And it's so hard for parents to leave the structured box because they're scared.
Right.
I would be scared too. I don't want to let go of
You're
something that I'm comfortable with.
right.
But sometimes it's needed because life is unpredictable and there's a lot of uncomfortable situations that you have to deal with and expose expose the children to, with or without special needs. It's like, you know, if you don't work on skills that can help the child transition into the community outside of their structured environment in a clinic or a school, and just let them be, they will never learn how to adapt and overcome the sounds, the smells, or anything like that.
You know,
We have
their
to
heightened
stop keeping
senses.
them in the bubble.
Right. It's almost like we look at a child with autism as having a
5 minutes?
disability.
Okay.
It's not possible that we only have 5 minutes. We just started.
Wow.
Okay. It's not. It's not that we're looking at kids that have less of something. They have more than something. They have more of something. Their hearing, their scent, their taste, their tactile. It's above average, not below.
Yeah.
So it's how do you regulate that and bring it down? But with what everything you've said, and I hope a lot of people out there, especially sports-minded ones, this is how we think. Oops, sorry, we think so differently. With what you just said, imagine this: you have professional football players, tuned athletes. They know how to use the weight room. Imagine this: you can only practice at your skill for 1 hour a week. How worth watching are they
Hmm.
if they only practice for one, and the team is only in sync for 1 hour a week? Where's the cadence? Here's a better one. Now imagine that the coaching staff speaks a different language than the team. That's our kids when they walk in. The bravery of these kids, they're facing fears every minute
They
of
are.
the day. And it's again what this whole thing is about, and bringing together. It's not autism awareness. It's not, we're aware. We're aware. We're just not dealing with it right. As far as I'm concerned, we need to take this up to a whole new level with everything that's changing here. I'm I'm not hoping. I'm praying that everybody comes together as one and is heard as one voice here. And nobody calls to argue. Nobody calls to debate. Everybody calls to suggest and recommend because that is negotiable. Arguments, hostility, I don't have any time for it. I've seen too much of it in this world. And I'm just done with it. And everybody who's emailed back says, Troy, this is so long overdue that you come out with this the way you've always talked about it. And it's what I feel because when you hear all the stories I've heard with what you said about kids not wanting to go, what's the greatest thing we hear when we open a birthday party facility when the owner calls back and says, I had a little boy after a birthday, no, it was a little girl, last one I heard about. After the birthday party, she started screaming and crying, I don't want to go, I don't want to go. And the mom said it got so bad that I said, I'm going to leave you here. And she stood up and she crossed her arms and she said, good. That's what I want. Good.
Good.
So I guess we're done with this. Are we done?
Yeah. But you know, I just want to add and end with this is exactly what you said. Be kind when you do call and send your requests in. I know I've phased out of Facebook for a reason because everything gets so political. You make one statement or you share something, people come back
Go away, you
and
people.
and these are like friends, okay, who have different opinions, and as your friend or a colleague, I have the right to have a different opinion and just be kind. You can disagree.
Why can't somebody believe in something without getting the crap knocked out of them?
I don't know. They're saying we're gonna block you. Block us.
Good.
If you want to block.
I don't have Facebook. Good. Block me.
You don't like something we say? Delete. It's okay. You know, there's but like I said, it's just please when you do call live, be kind, or just don't call or bother watching the show.
If you can't add to or benefit the people who are listening with all the hope and all the good intent, if you're not a bonus to that, I don't want it.
Yeah, our goal is one and one only. It's to help as many people. Helping, how do we say it? Helping one.
We help thousands, help millions.
Yeah, help thousands, help millions.
And you know what? That kindness word, what do I start my letters to my children out with? The very first one. Everything begins with kindness.
Yes, you do actually.
Nothing starts. Every good thing is hinged on that word.
Yes.
Kindness. And it's so easy to do. It's so easy to do. Okay, we're getting flagged. Now I'm getting the fish
so
shook
kindness
at me.
And let us be your hope, okay?
That's not very kind. Okay, we love you guys.
All right, wait. Hold on.
I don't even know
You know what?
I
have a feeling our guys have a reason as to why they want us to announce our different mugs from our adventures. Like this one is
we have them from Barcelona, Cuba. We almost didn't get the ones from Cuba home. Go ahead.
This is from Mohonk Mountain House, one of my favorite places.
It's not a beach. It's not a beach.
It's a lake, and it's somewhere. Since my girls were little, been going every year for, especially during the holidays. It's magical. So many stories about elves and.
Oh, the way that the workers played off with the elf being loose in our car, and they get some Mercedes, and like.
Apparently, the elf followed us and showed up at Mohonk, but it was so beautiful. So this is Mohonk Mountain House in New Paltz.
Wasn't that a great memory?
It was beautiful. New Paltz, New York. So this is just a family memory one, and you are Christmas as usual. That is present when we got your pajamas.
I got Santa Claus pajamas, and I said, "Mom, make a wish," and. Almost 9 months to a day, there was Grant.
My son, yes.
Yeah. So what did you wish for that?
Okay, right.
Whatever.
On that note, thank you very much for watching and watching.
Now that's how much of a mom she is. You're already thinking about watching.
I am. I'm like, I have so many chores to do. All right, watch us on our next episode at the Sensory Overload with Rebecca and
Troy, and it's going to be.